A man without rhythm is easy to break. Life does not need to conspire against you to destroy you. It does not need a grand plan or a specific enemy. All life needs to do is apply a little bit of chaotic pressure. And if you have no structure, you will crumble. You will crumble because you are soft. You will crumble because you are reactive. You wake up and immediately surrender your attention to the demands of others. You spend your hours putting out fires you did not start. You feel busy. You feel exhausted. Yet, when you put your head on the pillow at night, you feel a deep, gnawing sense of distrust. You do not trust the day you just lived. You do not trust that it moved you forward. This is the condition of the modern drifter. He mistakes motion for progress. He mistakes anxiety for productivity. He believes that if he is sweating, he must be building something. But a man running in circles sweats just as much as a man running toward a destination. The difference is the map. The difference is the rhythm. Without a cadence to your life, you are just a leaf blowing in the wind of circumstance. You are not free. You are untethered. And in a storm, being untethered is a death sentence. We must look to the orders that have survived the collapse of empires. Consider the monasteries of the old world. These were not just places of worship, they were fortresses of preservation. While the world outside burned in chaos, war, and plague, the order inside remained. How did they survive? They survived because they lived by a code known as ora et labora, pray and work. This was not just a religious instruction. It was a formula for human sustainability. It was a recognition that a man needs two things to remain sane. He needs the discipline of labor, and he needs the stillness of reflection. The modern man has forgotten this balance.
He either works until he burns out, treating his body like a rental car he plans to crash, or he consumes until he rots, hiding from his potential in a fog of cheap entertainment. He swings like a pendulum between manic activity and depressive lethargy. He has no center. He has no spine. He tries to outwork his lack of clarity, but you cannot dig a hole in the wrong place deep enough to find gold. You do not need more intensity. You need a rhythm that you can repeat for decades. You must understand that freedom without structure is not freedom. It is chaos. You think you want a life with no alarm clock, no schedule, and no obligations, but if you were given that life tomorrow, you would self-destruct. The human mind needs a frame. Without a frame, the picture spills out and stains the floor. Rest without boundaries is not recovery. It is escape. It is avoidance. Work without a finish line is not ambition. It is slavery. You are enslaving yourself to the never-ending stream of tasks. The goal of the warrior is not to work the hardest. The goal is to build a life that does not break him. To build a day that won't betray you, you need a protocol. You need to treat your schedule like a military operation. It is not a suggestion. It is a battle plan. The first step is to establish your anchors. You need two fixed points in your day that do not move, regardless of how you feel. The first is your wake-up time. The second is your shutdown time. These are the walls of your fortress. If you wake up at different times every day, your biology is confused. If you work until you pass out, your mind never disconnects. Fix the start, fix the end. Everything else happens between these walls. Inside these walls, you must divide your territory into three distinct blocks. The first block is build. This is for deep work. This is the time when you do the one thing that actually moves your life forward.
It is not for checking email.
It is not for meetings. It is for the heavy lifting of your craft. In the monastic view, this is the Labora. It is the work that honors your potential. If you do not prioritize this block, the trivial will eat the essential. The sand will fill the jar, and there will be no room for the rocks. The second block is maintain. You cannot ignore the reality of life. You have bills to pay. You have messages to answer. You have a household to run. This is the maintenance block. The amateur lets these tasks bleed into his whole day, constantly interrupted by notifications. The professional corrals them into a specific cage. You deal with the friction of life during this time, and then you close the gate. You do not let the admin of living consume the art of living. The third block is Sharpen. This is where you train. This is where you read. This is where you acquire new skills. A blade that is used constantly without being sharpened will eventually become a dull piece of metal. You must invest time in your own capacity. This is not a luxury. It is a necessity. If you are not getting stronger, you are getting weaker. Entropy is always pulling you down. The Sharpen block is how you fight back against the decay. But the most critical missing piece in your current rhythm is the sacred pause. In the concept of aura, the pause was for prayer. For you, it is for sanity. You must schedule a block of time, perhaps only 10 minutes, where the input stops. No phone, no podcast, no conversation, just silence. You need to let the mud settle in the water so you can see clearly. This is the reset button for your nervous system. Without this pause, you are running on a treadmill that is slowly speeding up until you fly off the back. This rhythm requires maintenance. You cannot just set it and forget it. You need a weekly review. At the end of the week, look at your structure. Did it hold? Did you respect the blocks? If you failed, do not beat yourself up. Do not attack your own worth. Attack the system. Adjust the times. Move the blocks. You are the mechanic of your own life. If the engine is knocking, you tune it. You do not abandon the car on the side of the road. There is a myth that a structured life is boring. People tell you that spontaneity is the spice of life. They are wrong. Spontaneity is a garnish. It is not the meal. A life built on impulse is a tragedy. It is a series of started projects and broken promises. True creativity, true power, and true peace come from reliability. When you know exactly what you are supposed to be doing, the anxiety vanishes. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop wondering if you are doing enough. You just execute the plan. When you adopt this code, you become dangerous. You become consistent. In a world of people who are erratic and emotional, the man who is steady is king. You become the rock that others lean on. Your family, your team, your tribe, they feel the strength of your rhythm. They know that you are not going to drift. They know that your day has a spine, and therefore, you have a spine. This is not about being a robot. It is about honoring the contract with your own potential. Every day that you drift is a day you stole from the man you could have become. Every day that you waste in the gray zone of semi-distracted work is an insult to the time you have been given. The clock is ticking. It does not care if you are ready. It does not care if you are tired. It keeps moving. You have a choice. You can continue to wake up and let the world dictate your terms. You can continue to end your days wondering where the time went, feeling the hollow ache of unfulfilled duty. Or You can build the trellis. You can plant the anchors. You can separate the work from the rest and the noise from the silence.
You can take back the ownership of your hours. The only question is, will you build a fortress of order that protects your purpose? Or will you let the entropy of the world turn you into dust? The rhythm is waiting. Find it, and do not let it go.